Gojo's Infinity is often hailed as one of the most overpowered abilities, not just in Jujutsu Kaisen, in all of anime. It's one of the strongest defensive techniques ever, making Gojo practically invincible against any attack. Here's how it works. Gojo's Infinity takes the space between him and his opponent and divides it infinitely. This means that no matter how close someone gets, they can never actually reach him. Not only does this stop opponents from getting to him, but it also prevents their attacks from ever making contact no matter how close they seem. What makes Infinity even more overpowered is that it's almost entirely automatic. Gojo doesn't need to think about activating it. It's always on, unless he chooses to manually turn it off. So even if you're faster than Gojo, you still can't get past his Infinity. This combination of factors makes Gojo nearly unbeatable in most situations. But I said most situations, not all. There are a few rare exceptions. Characters in the anime universe who could actually bypass Gojo's Infinity and defeat him. This video is dedicated to those characters who have what it takes to break through Gojo Satoru's ultimate defense and completely dominate him in a fight. Before we dive into the list though, let's talk about how someone could bypass Gojo's Infinity. There are really only two ways. The first is through abilities or hacks that can negate the Infinity altogether. The second way is through speed. Earlier, I mentioned that even if you're faster than Gojo, you can't bypass his Infinity. But there's one exception. If you're faster than infinite speed itself. Remember, Gojo divides the space between him and his opponent infinitely. So if you can move at infinite speed, you can traverse that infinite space without issue. Now that we've covered the basics, let's get into the list of characters who can bypass Gojo's Infinity. At the top of the list, we have Yami Tsukihiro from Black Clover. While Yami outscales Gojo in many aspects, the real question is, how does he get past Gojo's Infinity? Most of you might not know that Yami has a unique ability called Dimension Slash. This technique allows him to cut through dimensions, making him a formidable opponent even against someone as powerful as Gojo. So how can Dimension Slash bypass Gojo's Infinity? Here's how it works. With his grimoire open, Yami channels darkness into his sword. Then, with a powerful downward slash, he releases that darkness, which flies toward his opponent. This slash isn't just any ordinary attack, it can cut through large clouds of mana, spatial magic, and even space itself. Gojo's Infinity creates a space between him and his opponent, preventing any attack from reaching him. However, this won't work against Yami. Dimension Slash doesn't just cut through dimensions, it cuts through space itself. This means that Yami's attack can slice right through the very space that Infinity is manipulating, allowing him to land a direct hit on Gojo. Next up, we have one of my personal favorite characters from One Piece, Trafalgar Law. Law has an incredibly unique devil fruit ability called the Ope Ope no Mi, which allows him to create a space called Room, where he can manipulate anything within that area with his devil fruit powers. Think of it like an operating room, with Law as the surgeon who has complete control to do whatever he pleases. One of his signature moves is Amputate, where he can sever a person's body without actually killing them. It's a freaky yet powerful technique. He also has another move called Shambles, which lets him mix and match body parts or swap the positions of objects within his room. It's also great for a quick escape since he can switch his position with anything else in the room, including himself. So, how does Law stack up against Gojo? If Gojo gets caught in Law's room, he's definitely going to feel the effects. But does that automatically mean Law could beat Gojo in a fight? That's a tough call. Law's abilities would certainly give him an edge by bypassing Gojo's Infinity within the room, but it's not a guaranteed win. The real question is, could Law capitalize on that advantage before Gojo uses his overwhelming power to counter? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Do you think Law could take down Gojo, or would Gojo's strength still give him the upper hand? Next, we have one of Yuha's elite royal guards from Bleach, Leal Barrow. Leal Barrow is a top-tier character in the Bleach universe, serving as the leader of Yuha's elite guards. His power comes from a shrift called the X-Axis, an ability that makes him incredibly dangerous, even in a world full of powerful beings. The X-Axis allows Leal to fire shots with his rifle that pierce through all things in his line of sight. What makes this ability truly terrifying is that these shots don't travel through the air like regular bullets. They reach their target instantly, piercing everything in their path, no matter what kind of defense is in place. As we've seen in the series, Leal's shots can go through even the strongest defenses, like when he shot right through two Royal Guard members Zanpakuto to hit a shielded target without any trouble. So, how does this stack up against Gojo's Infinity? One of the ways to bypass Infinity is by using an attack that doesn't actually travel but instead directly spawns at the target's location. Leela's X-Axis does just that. His shots don't have to move through space, they simply appear at the designated spot, making it impossible for Infinity to block them. This ability makes Leela a serious threat to Gojo, as he can effectively bypass the space that Gojo's infinity manipulates. The next character on our list pretty much makes Gojo's infinity useless. Enrio Pooi from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stone Ocean. At the climax of the series, Pooi awakens an ability called Made in Heaven, which is the perfect counter to Gojo's defenses. One of the few ways to bypass Gojo's infinity is through speed, specifically speed faster than infinite, and that's exactly what Made in Heaven brings to the table. According to the author himself, Made in Heaven is a stand with stats that allow it to reach infinite speed, meaning it can travel infinite distances instantly, but it doesn't stop there. Made in Heaven also comes with a terrifying set of abilities, like time acceleration. This ability lets Pooi speed up the flow of time, which can have devastating effects on his opponents. And then there's the universal reset. Whereas time continues to accelerate, the universe reaches a vanishing point, and a new universe is created. In this new universe, everything repeats itself according to fate. So, how does Gojo stack up against this? Well, to be honest, I think Gojo might be in serious trouble here. With Made in Heaven's ability to move at infinite speed and manipulate time itself, Gojo's infinity becomes practically irrelevant. Pooi could simply outmaneuver Gojo and reset the universe to a point where Gojo's defenses no longer matter. If you ask me, I think Gojo is cooked. And last but definitely not least, we have one of the most iconic villains of all time, Madara Uchiha. Unlike the other characters on this list, Madara has a trio of abilities that can bypass Gojo's infinity. Let's break them down. 1. Limbo clones. Madara's limbo ability allows him to create clones of himself in a separate dimension that coexists with the world, but cannot be detected or interacted with. These limbo clones can attack Gojo, bypassing infinity because Gojo's defenses can't reach them. Essentially, limbo clones can strike from a dimension that Gojo's infinity can't affect. 2. Truth-seeking orbs. These orbs are composed of chakra from all natures, including the 5 basic elemental natures and yin-yang release. They have the power to erase and negate anything they come into contact with, even causing damage to the soul. Madara could use these orbs to directly erase Gojo's infinity or any other defense Gojo puts up, making them a formidable weapon against him. 3. Infinite Tsukuyomi. Finally, Madara can cast the Infinite Tsukuyomi, a genjutsu that traps its target in an illusionary world of their deepest desires. Given Gojo's immense power and skill, this might seem like an easy win for Madara. Once caught in the Infinite Tsukuyomi, Gojo would be trapped in a dreamlike state, rendering his infinity and any physical defenses completely irrelevant. With these 3 powerful abilities at his disposal, Madara Uchiha could definitely challenge Gojo in ways few others could. Alright, anime fans, that wraps up our list of characters who could potentially bypass Gojo's infinity. We've talked about some serious heavy hitters today, from Yami's Dimension Slash to Law's Room, Leela Barrow's X-Axis, Enrio Poi's Made in Heaven, and of course, the legendary Madara Uchiha with his trio of devastating abilities. Each of these characters brings something unique to the table, proving that even Gojo's unbeatable defense might have its limits when faced with the right kind of power. But what do you think? Could any of these characters really take down Gojo? Or does the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer still have some tricks up his sleeve? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more epic anime breakdowns and battles. Let me know in the comments which character you think would stand the best chance against Gojo, or if there's anyone we missed that should have made the list. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.